Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Monday, September 3rd. Ooh, it's the last day of September. Stacking the box, the Monday edition. Iain MacMillan here, Sterling Holmes with me. We are, of course, going to be recapping all of Sunday's NFL action and then getting you ready for Monday night's doubleheader. Is this the last doubleheader of the season? It's at least the last Monday night doubleheader for the next little bit, at least. We might have one, late in the season. Sterling, how you doing?
I'm good. Golf this weekend. Nice. My wedding is this upcoming weekend. Things are good, Ian.
Your wedding is this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, baby, the 5th.
Oh, that's crazy. That's weird. The invite just must have got lost in the mail, I suppose.
Oh, well, it's going to Canada. I sent it to Canada.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Shoot.
I didn't know you were getting married this weekend. Congratulations.
I keep it on the DL.
Yeah, well, it's not on the DL anymore.
Yeah.
Before we get into things, it is the greatest time of year. Not only is Sterling getting married, but getting married during football season, Sterling. What is that about?
The Chiefs play on Monday.
Oh, man.
So going to the Monday game. We're making it a long, fun weekend. So that's what we're doing.
Ooh. Football is back, and it is here to stay until February. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Win up to 1,000 times their money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. This past Thursday I had an Underdog lineup, and I needed one more Devin Singletary carry for me to win my contest entry, and it did not win. And actually, the Giants' last run play was to their backup running back. So that hurt. But you can win on Underdog, and making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog, simple to use mobile app, or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Stacking the Box, all one word, Stacking the Box, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Stacking the Box to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus or 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona is 1-800-NEXT-STEP or 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Getting married during football season, Sterling. That's not good.
No, it's okay. Mizzou plays an 11 a.m. game.
Oh,
wedding's
okay,
at 4, so we're good.
And your honeymoon is to the Chiefs game.
No, honeymoon's in February.
Oh, okay.
After football season.
Got
Ian, I can't miss your face twice a week.
Of course. So you'll be on Monday morning on the
show. Doubtful.
Okay. I will look for a replacement for next Monday. That's okay. I'll forgive you.
I just realized doubtful.
Okay. All right. So let's talk Sunday's NFL action. Why don't we just start with the most recent game, Sunday Night Football, Ravens Bills. You said before we went live, Sterling, that you learned nothing from this game.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I think the Ravens are a good team. I think the Bills are a good team. I think the Bills played really bad and the Ravens played great. I don't know what I learned outside of two teams regressing to the mean a little bit, and in a game that was in Baltimore, a game where the Bills fell behind early, so they had to throw the ball, and their offensive line did not hold up against the Ravens, who have a pretty good pass rush. I don't know what I really learned outside of things I feel like we already knew. The score looks bad. So everyone's going to immediately say, wow, the Bills must be frauds and the Ravens are showing their back. I've always thought the Ravens were a good team. I just think you don't want to take a team when they've played their worst football and now say that's who they are. Let's look more at the mean here. Just how last week the Bills over the Jags, that's not necessarily who they are. That's not the consistent Bills team. Just how this past, game last night isn't the real Bills team either. They're somewhere in the middle. They are a team with a lot of variance, don't get me wrong, especially when their entire team is built around one specific player, a.k.a. Josh Allen. But overall, I think people are overreacting too much right now, and I think it's a little bit silly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The Bills, the Bills and Ravens play again tonight. It could be a very different game than what we saw last night. So yeah, I'm not overreacting to that Bills loss. I think what I learned though, Sterling, is that the 0-2 start for the Ravens wasn't anything for us to be concerned about. Now I think the two of us weren't concerned after the 0-2 start. Especially after that loss to the Raiders. But I think last night did show that the Ravens are still an AFC contender.
Correct. But that's what I thought they were from the get-go. So I guess for me, personally, I thought they were always a good team, a top 3, top 4 team in the AFC.
Yeah, and I think we did learn, and maybe we did already know this, that it's going to be the same teams in the AFC. It's the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills. I mean, if you take into Sunday afternoon's action too, I mean, the Jets might not be it. We'll get to that game here in a little bit. The Jets might not be it. The Dolphins certainly aren't it this season. The
Texans,
I guess the Texans, Texans, but Texans aren't perfect. I don't think that I don't think the Texans are quite there.
No, they had to come back. I mean, they were down 2017, the majority of that fourth quarter. They had to have a comeback there, which of course they did. They're 3-1. They haven't quite looked as good as I thought they were, because I was very high on the Texans last year. Obviously, I was very high on them coming into the season this season, and it's just been a little bit of a disappointment, although you also obviously have to take into account Tank Dell's been banged up a lot this year. So it's basically been the Nico Stephon Diggs show.
We're actually probably going to learn a lot about the Texans next weekend, because the Texans host the Bills next weekend, and because their schedule hasn't been really great so far. They barely beat the Colts week 1. They kind of, even though they dominated the Bears, it was still a 1-score game. Came back against the Jaguars this past weekend, and the only good team that they played, which is a surprising good team, but a good team nonetheless, the Vikings, they were destroyed by the Vikings. So this upcoming week might be the time that we learn a little bit in terms of how much of a contender the Texans truly are when they take on the Bills. But yeah, in the AFC, I do generally think, and I think last night kind of proved it, that it's generally the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs this year in the AFC. Whereas the NFC, and we can get to the NFC now, wide open.
Yeah.
Could not be more wide open. Not only is it wide open with the teams we thought that were going to be contenders, but the Minnesota Vikings undefeated. The Washington Commanders 3-1 with Jayden Daniels playing unbelievable.
26 of 30. 26 of 30. I mean, that's just incredible. And it's not just checkdowns for Jayden Daniels. You've seen him open it up a lot. I've been so impressed with the offense. And by the way, the defense, holding Arizona to 14 is pretty good, because I think Arizona's offense can be considered explosive. They've been up and down, very inconsistent this year with Kyler Murray, but I still think the majority of the time you would label Arizona's offense as explosive. 14 points. Washington, to me, has been just as big of a surprise as the Minnesota Vikings almost. Just the issue is Minnesota's 4-0, Sam Darnold's resurgence, that's getting the majority of the headlines. He's playing like an MVP candidate right now. But Jayden Daniels and that Washington team, they are sneaky. Give it a couple more weeks. I don't want to jump the gun too soon, obviously, but they're definitely trending the right way. It's hard not to be excited if you are a Washington fan.
Yeah, the stat that's going around is that through his first 4 games, Jayden Daniels has a completion percentage of 82.1%. That is the best completion percentage 4 games into a season. That is not 4 games into a rookie season. That is overall in NFL history, the best completion percentage 4 games into a season. It is Jayden Daniels this season at 82.1%. Next is Tom Brady in 2007, the year the Patriots went undefeated in the regular season, 79.2. Geno Smith a couple years ago, 77.3. Kyler Murray, 2021, 76.1. So, yeah, and they're not all checkdowns. He's taken some shots too. So that is a true 82.1% completion percentage. And heading into this season, I think we all knew Jayden Daniels could be, both good through the air and on the ground. But especially myself, I thought, especially early in his career, he was going to be, get the majority of his offense going with his legs. But he's been, just as good, if not better, of a thrower than he has been a runner through the first 4 games.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think you and I were on the same page. I know I was team Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But you're seeing why. I mean, I feel like people were so enamored by his running ability, they automatically labeled him a runner first.
Yeah.
And he's clearly both.
Yeah, Hunter brings up a good point. If you want to, and maybe this is a question I can ask you, Sterling, do you think it's worth a bet on Jayden Daniels to win MVP? I mean, last year, CJ Stroud had a historic rookie season, was kind of in the MVP conversation. He missed a game or two late in the season, which kind of took him out. Jayden Daniels still right now 50-1 to win MVP, at least at the place I'm looking at it right now. That is the same odds as Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, Kyler Murray. If you were to ask me which of those four players, Justin Fields, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, or Jayden Daniels, which one I would prefer to bet on MVP right now, and unfortunately I'm going to go against my guy Kirk, but Jayden has the best 4-game resume by a long shot. So I think his odds are only kind of that long just because you don't really expect a rookie quarterback to be able to sustain this throughout an entire season. But what do you think about that? Sprinkle on Jayden Daniels 50-1?
Yeah, like I would throw a 5 on it. That's a cup of coffee, right? You're probably not going to win that bet, let's be real. But I think the odds are good enough that why wouldn't you? Because 50-1 to me, he's playing more like 25-1.
Right.
15-1 at this point. I mean, Sam Darnold, I don't think is going to keep this up for a full season, right? Lamar Jackson's been great on the ground. Last night obviously helped his case a lot, but is there going to be any Lamar Jackson fatigue of congratulations, you're doing great in the regular season. We know what happens come postseason time, right? Is there any? He's won 2 already. Is there Lamar fatigue? It won't be Mahomes. Mahomes looks lost. Josh Allen's the other guy you could probably make a really good case for. But it is pretty open this year, right? Because, I mean, through the first 4 weeks, it's probably Lamar, Josh, Jayden Daniels, Sam Darnold, and maybe Baker Mayfield. I know he had a really, really bad game, but he's had 3 really good ones too.
Green Man asked in the chat, has a rookie quarterback ever won MVP? No. One rookie in the history of the NFL has won MVP. It was Jim Brown, I believe, won MVP in the late 50s. So in the Super Bowl era, no rookie has ever won MVP.
So they're due.
Yeah. I will say, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second, if I may, Sterling. The defenses Jayden Daniels and the Commanders have played the first 4 weeks are probably 4 of the they're all in the bottom 10, I would say, in defenses. Giants, Buccaneers, Giants, Bengals, Cardinals. Cardinals defense stinks. Bengals defense really stinks. Giants defense stinks. Tampa Bay defense is below average, and that was the one game that he lost. Also, it is first game of his career, so cut him a little bit of slack. But he has not even played an above average defense so far.
It's fair, but it's still the NFL. And for him, this has to be a good feeling of, okay, take that out of the equation for a second. If you're a rookie quarterback, it's a nice way to ease yourself into the NFL, proving that you can do it. It's way better than facing those teams than even the Broncos or the Jets or the Chiefs or, the Steelers, right? Because easing your way into the NFL, giving you that confidence of showing you can do it. Then when you play a team like the Jets defense, right? Whatever our thoughts are on the Jets, they're not good. That defense is still pretty solid. You've done it before. You've seen it in an NFL game. That does breed confidence, in my opinion.
Yeah, he has a couple tough challenges coming up. I think the next 2 weeks, especially week 6, is going to be a true measuring stick for him because he has the Browns this coming week. Now, the Browns have been a little iffy at best, but their defense is still solid. Then you got the Ravens in week 6.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big test. So I'm, even though, praise him, rightfully so, an amazing first 4 starts of his career into the Commanders overall. But I'm going to pump my brakes until I see them play the Ravens in week 6. And that brings me to, in the chat, Jalen says, I think this year more than others, the teams that can win a Super Bowl, it's not just the favorites, but the lesser of favorites. I do agree with that. Don't necessarily agree with this last thing he said. Should we be shocked if the Commanders made the Super Bowl this year? I would be shocked if the Commanders made the Super Bowl this. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's pump them just a little bit here. Now, would I be shocked at this point if the Commanders make the playoffs? No. Especially based on their schedule. Their schedule actually looks pretty favorable. Even the teams that preseason were supposed to be good this year on their schedule aren't that good. I mean, they got the Eagles twice. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoffs. Would I be shocked if they made the Super Bowl? Absolutely. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I'd be floored.
The Commanders' defense is not good. So, like, maybe if they had an elite defense, sure. But their defense stinks. Yeah. I mean, could they win the NFC East? I mean, it's probably still going to.
I would still be shocked.
I'd be shocked if one of Dallas or Philadelphia is going to figure things out here. Probably Dallas. All right, let's move on. Let's talk Chiefs, Sterling. Rashee Rice, torn ACL is the rumor.
Allegedly.
Is he done?
Alleged torn ACL. But it definitely looks like it's a torn ACL. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. Andy Reid spoke about it during the game. You know, when they do the little sideline reports, Andy hardly says anything. And when even he says, not much of an update, but it doesn't look good, that should tell us a lot.
That's not
good. Huge loss. He had 288 yards in 3 games for the Chiefs. He was their wide receiver 1. He's a blossoming into an Amon-Ra St. Brown style of player, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown had 1,500 yards last year, so I'm not going to say he's that. But the same stylistic player, very similar role. And the trends were actually pretty similar from what Amon-Ra St. Brown did compared to what Rashee Rice did. If this was going to be his year 2, he would have gone for 1,100 yards, and that's exactly what he was pacing for. It's sad. Luckily, Travis Kelce picked up the slack last game. I've said time and time again, either Rashee thrives or Travis thrives. Very rarely will both thrive in the same game because of they're playing a similar role in the offense, that kind of underneath, middle of the field, zone coverage. And then Xavier Worthy's a kind of an entity in his entirety, which we saw with that deep bomb against the Chargers, right? That 54-yard touchdown. The issue is, outside of Worthy and Kelce, it is a massive drop-off. Juju Smith-Schuster looks like the Juju that was in New England, right? McCole Hardman does not look very good. Justin Watson is consistent, but he is a legit wide receiver 4, not your wide receiver 2. Sky Moore got an opportunity and promptly drops the ball yet again. If there were no injuries, I would not be surprised if he was cut today. The Chiefs are going to have to try and trade for someone because they cannot go through what they went through last year with the wide receiver group. That's not sustainable over a 2-year stretch. They can't count on all those guys coming alive in the playoffs yet again. That's just too much to hope for. The defense looks great, but Mahomes does not look very good this year. You got to give him some help. You got to get him some weapons. I would not be shocked if a trade is on the table for Deontay Johnson a couple of weeks. Maybe the Tennessee Titans are out of the contention, and maybe you see a DeAndre Hopkins type of move because the Chiefs need someone.
Are we concerned for the 3-peat?
No, they're 4-0, and the defense looks better than ever.
I'm gonna. Whoa, I wouldn't say that. I'm in a tricky spot here with the Kansas City Chiefs because if the Kansas City Chiefs weren't back-to-back Super Bowl champions, I would be writing an article this morning saying fraud rankings. Kansas City Chiefs, most fraudulent team in the NFL. They stink this year, dude. They have a negative net yards per play. They're like 15th in yards per play, like 17th in opponent yards per play.
Yeah, they stink, but they're 4-0. Yeah, they're the only undefeated team in the AFC. Yeah,
right, well, that's a definition of a fraud, though. I'm not going to call a 1-3 team a fraudulent team. A fraudulent team is a team with a good record that's actually not that good.
So last year,
but I don't think I can call the defending Super Bowl champs frauds. Is where the issue is. But if you just look at this season by themselves, they are by far the most fraudulent team with a good record. They stink.
They stink. They beat the Ravens. Bengals aren't very good, but offensively, the Bengals at least look pretty good recently. Seriously. I mean,
they stink.
They stink. If that's your definition of a team that stinks, then there is no good team in the NFL. What's that make the Falcons? Two scoops of ass? I mean, that's just absurd.
Falcons gained them in yards per play by like a yard.
Oh, congratulations. How did that work out for you?
It worked out by the refs then handed the game.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. 4-0, pal.
Right. And once again, I don't think I can call the Chiefs. I don't think I can call back-to-back Super Bowl champs frauds. But this is the same issue whenever because this is what my fraud rankings are, and I haven't written the first edition of them this year, but that's what my fraud rankings are. It's a 4-0 team or a team with an extremely good record that I make the claim aren't good, and every single year I do that, I have the fans of their team being like, "Oh, 4-0 though. Oh, 5-1. Yeah, but we're 5-1. What's your team?" And then the team I call frauds inevitably ends up stinking. Who did I call frauds last year when they were 10-1? And everyone said I was an idiot? The Eagles. And what happened? They imploded. So you don't want to be on my fraud rankings. I don't think I can do it.
The difference is the Chiefs' defense is elite. That's the difference.
An elite defense doesn't give up 5.4 yards per play.
If you think the Chiefs don't have an elite defense, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
Okay, well, I don't think ranking 17th in the NFL in yards per play is elite. I don't think ranking 19th in yards per pass attempt is elite. No. Usually you got to rank in the top 5 in defensive metrics for me to call you elite.
You clearly do not watch the games. You don't know ball.
I mean, stats just tell you what happened in the game.
Because they don't care. What they do is they take away the opposing team's best thing. That's what Spags does. What did Derrick Henry do on the ground? What did Bijan Robinson do on the ground? What did J.K. Dobbins do on the ground? Check that out.
Giving up completion percentage of 63.9%.
Average.
Still not elite.
What have they done on the ground, pal?
14th.
What did Bijan do?
14th and third down defense.
What did Bijan do?
I mean,
16 for 31.
Okay,
nice.
I mean, if the measure of
Nails.
a defense is just taking away the best weapon, and that's
what they do.
Then just do that.
That's exactly they did it against the Bengals. With
But if
Jamar
you take
Chase.
away the best weapon, and the other team still finds a way to move the ball, then what does it matter?
They're making you play left-handed.
Okay,
it's a whole thing.
If teams still have success playing left-handed, then what does it matter?
The success has ended up without a win. Are you serious? Are you dense?
No, the numbers tell me the story of what happens on the football field, and the Chiefs aren't top 10, and I haven't found a single defensive metric they're top 10.
Hilarious.
They're 9th in red zone defense. Found one.
Hilarious to me. What about run defense? Where's that at, pal?
Run defense, I do think they're top 10. 5th. There you go. They can stop the run. All right, we can't keep the whole show talking about the Chiefs. Now we're going to talk about the Falcons, who big NFC South win. I have a lot of
team
concerns.
That stinks.
I have a lot of concerns about the Falcons, but
Tyler Allgeier's better than Bijan Robinson. There we go. Fact.
No, he had a good game yesterday. It's a 1-2 punch. Kyle Pitts is trade Kyle Pitts immediately, because if he has any value left, it's now. So just trade him and get something back. He's a bum. Kyle Pitts is a bum. Our defense is pretty solid, especially in the red zone. The offense, the play calling, Kirk Cousins is we got to sharpen up a little bit, but we found a way to win the game. Refs try to screw us for the second straight week. Just a holding call that didn't exist on Bijan's touchdown. Didn't exist. I don't really have too much else. Big game this week, Thursday night, playing the Buccaneers. Winner is in first place in the division.
Young Waiku basically saved your season, by the way.
Who?
Young Waiku basically.
Yeah, he's an elite kicker.
Saved your season.
You want to talk elite, an elite kicker. I said it before he went live, Sterling. I did not think he was going to make a 58-yarder. He's not a distance guy. I was prepared to collapse in heartbreak. He delivered. The pride of South Korea. Are the New York Jets in trouble? Yesterday was an ugly game.
Yeah. I don't care.
You can't score a touchdown against the Denver Broncos at home.
Yeah, I don't care about the weather, and it's bad for both teams. Bo Nix was able to throw a touchdown pass. A guy who had -7 yards in the first half.
Yep.
-7. Their leading receiver at halftime was a guy with 1 reception for 0 yards. He ended up with 60.
Yeah.
And what do they do on the ground? Hardly anything. I'm perplexed how the Jets lost that game. You could say that they missed a 48-yarder at the end. Okay, the Broncos missed a 50-yarder right before. The Jets are bad, man. I don't understand it. I really don't. They have weapons. They do. Braylon Allen's a great number 2. Breece Hall's a great number 1. Garrett Wilson is legit number 1 wide receiver. You bring in Mike Williams and you don't use him. The defense is talented. I don't get it, man. Either Robert Saleh and the OC has zero idea how to coach, or Aaron Rodgers is washed. Those are the only 2 options, because the offensive line hasn't been that bad either. You can't always blame them for every single issue when you're missing wide open guys or the play calling is ass.
These are the type of games the Jets weren't supposed to lose with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Jets fans expected them to win every game, but what they expected was to not lose games 9-7 or 10-9. Because that was a 2023 Jets loss. That was a 2022 Jets loss. I mean, the Falcons, almost the exact same game, went to East Rutherford last year and won almost an identical game, a rainy game, and I think the final score was 12-10 Falcons.
Zach Wilson, winner. Backup quarterback for the Broncos, Zach Wilson. Revenge game.
Yeah. So I'd be concerned if I was a Jets. But I said, I mean, I'm not going to do victory laps yet. It was one bad game. They crushed the Patriots a week before. But I said before that, like, don't be surprised if the Jets look more like they did last year than what people expect them to look. So we'll see. I'd be concerned. I'd be extremely concerned.
Most surprising, I thought, thing I learned was that game.
Yeah.
Had to be.
Who do the Jets have next week? Because they need to bounce back in a big way. They got the Vikings. Oh, that's a London game next week. All right. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Bengals saved their season. Needed the win against
Panthers.
The Panthers. And they did, but their defense still looks bad. I don't.
Yeah, Andy Dalton's still carving up defenses right now. Deontay Johnson looks great. Hubbard on the ground, effective. Yeah, Joe Burrow, those look good the past couple of weeks. So at least you have that going for you if you're a Bengals fan of, okay, defense is horrible, but at least Joe Burrow and the offense is starting to get things rolling. That should be at least some sort of consolation prize.
Yes. Bengals might just be a team you just bet the over in every game because every game is going to be a shootout. But, I mean, some people think the Bengals are now, alive to make the playoffs. I still don't think so. I think they miss the playoffs. So let me ask you that. Bengals make the playoffs, yes or no?
No, I had them as my 7 seed heading into the season. Like, I didn't think they were a great team to begin with. I thought they were a 7 seed. Starting off 0-3, I have them on the outside looking in. A win over the Panthers should not all of a sudden make you a playoff team.
Right.
What are we doing here?
Right. Now, they did technically save their season because if they lost, then their season was 100% over, but I'm not backing on the Bengals.
You beat the Panthers with Andy Dalton, and everyone's here like, oh, they're back. What are we doing?
The Bengals host the Ravens this week. What would you guess the spread would be?
Bengals host the Ravens?
It's in Cincinnati, yeah.
Ravens -4.
Ravens are only 2.5-point favorites, and it opened at 1. It's moved to 2.5.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, if
silly.
That's not the most obvious bet of all time, I don't know what is. But then again,
I thought I was generous with -4. I was even doing the 3-point home advantage right there.
The betting market still believes in the Bengals. I mean, if the Bengals want to win that game, they're going to have to score 40 points probably to win that game.
Well, let's win some money then, Iain.
Yeah. Vikings 4-0. Although I will say I was not totally impressed with them. They got off to a huge lead, but then only scored 3 points in the second half, which is concerning. I still don't really know how to treat the Vikings.
I don't either, but it's getting more and more likely that they're at least good, right?
Oh, I think I'm ready to say they're good, yeah.
Oh, okay. You're sitting that next level to elite, basically. Or like
right. To me, they're like a good, like they're like a wild card team. I guess the next step would be then should we consider them as being actual contenders in the NFC?
Yeah.
To win the conference.
Then yeah, we're in the same boat then. Because I don't know how to view them. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions. Should have been 4 or 5. Jordan Love, you're going to look and see 4 touchdowns and all the yards. And if you just look at the box score, you'll sit there and go, wow, what a game. If you watch that game, dude was atrocious, especially early on. The first 3 quarters, Jordan Love was awful. Yeah. It made you wonder, why wouldn't Malik Willis play one more week? Like, let him get healthy fully. And then the fourth quarter happened, and Jordan Love looked pretty good. And you're like, okay, you saw some throws. You go, okay, maybe he just had to knock the rust off, especially in game action. I get that. If you're Green Bay, I think you leave that game feeling better about yourself. I think you leave that game feeling pretty good about yourself. Because you let him knock the rust off. You lost by 2. You can talk yourself into, okay, that made sense. But if you're the Vikings, how do you view that? Do you view it as like the Ravens beating the Cowboys the week prior, where it was like you dominated the game, you controlled the game, but then a late flurry made this thing close? Do you view it as your team collapsed in the second half versus you were just trying to run the clock out and you were able to do that? Because I think if you're a Vikings fan, you can view it 2 different ways.
We both bet on the Vikings last week. You actually picked them as your upset pick on the show. So nice pick there. I do think there's going to be a time that we need to sell high on the Vikings, though.
Agreed.
And I don't know if it's this week in London against the Jets. I don't know. I got to think about that a little bit more. All right, let's move on to tonight's games. I accidentally talked about the first of 2 Monday night games on Wednesday's show. But let's talk about it again. I mean, the first one, there's not much to say. Titans, Dolphins. I guess the development, which I think is new since we went live last Wednesday, is that the Dolphins are playing Snoop Huntley.
Yeah. No
odds makers believe them because the line shifted from the Titans being a 1-point favorite to now the Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I think I'm going Titans.
Yeah,
I don't know why that would be the change. I know Skylar Thompson is banged up with the ribs, and then Tim Boyle didn't look anything special, but Tyler Huntley was out there for a reason. Why are we acting like all of a sudden he's the savior?
Pro bowler. People forget.
No, I don't, because that's always one of my favorite things to say is Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
He was decent with the Ravens offense because it was the Ravens, and then he got exposed when he started to play more. His arm strength is not good. Not good. Mm. I don't see him hitting Tyreek Hill deep. Now watch as he hits like 3 deep balls to Tyreek Hill. But I really don't see that happening in this game. I don't see him being able to utilize the great receivers that Miami possesses. Outside of, hopefully you get the ball, some check downs in their hands, and they have to go make a play, which they are playmakers, so maybe they can. But I'm going with the Titans on this one. I don't think it's particularly... I mean, I think it's a close game, but I don't think like it's a situation where the Dolphins are... leading throughout or the Dolphins dominate. I would be shocked if that were to be the case.
Yeah, people forget, I think, because last week the Titans defense didn't look good against, who was it, the Packers last week? And by last week, I mean week 3. But the Titans
when they
defense...
ran 53 times, whatever it was.
No, or was that against...
the week after, when Malik Willis actually threw the football.
When Malik Willis crushed the Titans. Yeah. But the first 2 weeks, the Titans were defensively extremely good. So I think people are kind of forgetting this Titans defense is good. It might be the only really good unit in this game. So I'll just take the Titans. I mean, Dolphins offense is obviously really good, but I don't know about Tyler Huntley being a quarterback. I'll take the Titans. Touchdown score for this game.
I'll go Calvin Ridley.
Former Falcon.
Calvin. Yeah.
I'm going to go the Titans defense to score a touchdown.
Wow.
10-1.
Really?
Yeah.
That might be a sprinkle.
I don't think Tyler Huntley coming out of nowhere is going to do much. And Titans defense, like I said, I'm convinced is like a top 10 for sure unit, maybe top 5 unit.
I love that. Hey, my long shot hit last week.
What was it?
Britton Strange, baby.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The Britton Strange TD.
Last Monday, yep. All right. I'm going to go Titans defense. The other game is the more interesting game. I think Titans Dolphins comes on first. As soon as Seahawks Lions goes live, I'll be switching the channel over to that game, as I'm sure most people will. Lions they were 4-point favorites last night. That line's actually shifted this morning, a half a point in favor of the Lions. Lions are now 4.5-point favorites, with the total down half a point from 47 to 46 and a half. I think the Seahawks win this game outright.
Ooh, bold. It depends what Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense you get. They remind me a lot of the Buccaneers, where I think consistently they can put up 30 points, but every once in a while you'll watch them and they're going to struggle to move the football and they put up 10. Like, that's what I'm worried about in this game. Because if the Seahawks do the 33-point game that they typically can put up, this is going to be electric. This is going to be such a fun game to watch. Yep. But I am nervous about the Geno Smith dud. Again, him, Baker Mayfield, they're kind of the same thing where 3 out of 4 games are great. But 1 out of 4, you're sitting there going, what just happened? Are they the guy? For the sake of sanity of my watching experience, I'll say the Seahawks offense bounces back. This is a high-scoring game. I rip the over. It's like 30-27, and I'll go DK Metcalf scores a touchdown.
Okay. Seahawks, and the reason why I'm on them, I didn't take them to win outright. I took them, I think, plus 4.5 early last week, is their defense. Now, the thing with their defense, though, is that they have played probably the worst 3 offenses in the NFL so far. They've played the Broncos, the Patriots, and then the Dolphins without Tua. So take that with a grain of salt, but their defense leads almost every single metric. Opponent yards per play to lead, opponent yards per pass attempt, sack percentage, I think they're up there. So is that a product of them playing 3 terrible defenses to start the year? Is that a product of bringing in the Ravens defensive coordinator as their new head coach, Mike McDonald? Is it a mixture of both? Are they are they good but not as good as they've looked the first 3 weeks? I don't know. But I think they're good enough for me to take 4 points with Seattle.
Smart. You're going with your brain, and I'm going with my heart.
All right. I like it. My touchdown score for this game is, let's go with another long shot. Jake Bobo.
Oh, wow. Bold.
Number 4 receiver for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
We go Jake Bobo. I've bet on Jake Bobo several times. Last year I did for him to score, and he never did on games that I bet him to. So I'm just going to keep doing that until one day he'll score.
My week 3 Austin Eckler, Britton Strange little touchdown parlay was a banger last week. Long shots. We root for you.
Yep. Love it. All right. That's do you have any other final thoughts for tonight's games?
Man, I'm excited. I just love that football's back, baby. Week 4. It goes so quick, but we're starting to get into who's real and who's fake. And I think this is a big game for the Seahawks. I think bigger for the Seahawks than the Lions. And then with the Dolphins and Titans need to win this game. If the Titans lose this game, I don't know what you do. If you can't beat the Dolphins with Snoop Huntley, Tyler Huntley at quarterback, oh man, shouldn't have Mike Vrabel.
It's a loser goes home game for the Titans Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before the introduction of I guess how many weeks now? 18 weeks. Yeah. We'd normally call this the quarter point of the season, but not really anymore.
Yeah, it's like the 22% part.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, should be a fun one. I assume you're going to switch over to Seahawks Lions as soon as that game starts.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah. I'll just get updates as Titans Dolphins. I don't need to sit down and watch Titans Dolphins.
I don't know, man. I also rock cable, so I can go back and forth. I can just press the last button.
I'll watch both.
Go. I'm a cable man.
Respect. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Stacking the Box. I think we just passed 13,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Love it.
Huge. Rate and review the audio version of this podcast if that's how you listen to it. Yeah, and we'll be back Wednesday. Are you here for Wednesday's show?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Okay. And then you're getting married.
And then I'm getting married.
All right. So we'll be back Wednesday to preview week 5 of the NFL, including Thursday Night Football. My Falcons back on primetime for the 3rd time in 5 weeks. And then we're not on primetime until week 15 or something. Against the Raiders for some reason. Stupid game to be on primetime. Great jersey matchup that'll be though.
Ooh, lovely. The Falcons helmets last week were really good. I'll give you that. The red, ooh, tasty.
I'm not a massive fan of them. It's a hot take. I don't like the old logo. The old logo looks like it was drawn by a middle schooler. And with that, Sterling takes off his headphones. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We'll talk to you Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back to preview week 5. Talk to you then.